So what are 5 third-generation jets I think we need in the game that are modernized and could be a fun 13.0 or some BR similar to that could be added right now? We need them right now, in my opinion. And I will have an honorable mention before we get going. The MiG-21 93, the Dash 93, right, which is pretty much the same as the Bison. It's basically the prototype of the Bison that we have in the game. It would be cool to see that prototype for Russia, maybe with the R-77s and stuff. I just think that it is kind of sad that we have, for example, a vegan that got the AIM-120s, but the MiG-21 Bison doesn't have the R-77s, right? So, yeah, I think we need a MiG-21 with R-77s. The idea, the concept is crazy and it's fun, and hopefully we have a MiG-21 93 for Russia or something that could get the R-77, since they don't want to add the R-77 for the Bison, right? So let's get going. Let's talk about 5 aircraft that are not added to the game that would be very cool to see it. The first one, we start with another MiG, the MiG-23-98. This is the upgraded MLD, basically, right? It would be, I mean, the idea here was to upgrade existing MiG-23 MLDs, making sure that they are upgraded enough so that they can do their job in a modern day capability, right? So they would change some of the weapons, the radar, some other little things here and there that would make this aircraft more effective and a little bit more reliable to use in a modern day, right? The main thing here is that the radar got changed, and with the radar getting changed, the missiles got changed. So now we have the R-77s, the R-27s, if I'm not mistaken even, but the R-77s would be the main missile. Together with that, of course, R-73s, although the MLD technically could already take the R-73, the one that we have in the game, but yeah, like the Dash 98 would be an upgraded one to, like, with that, right? And the other thing is that not only it would be able to, you know, do that in the sense of carrying the R-77 and being effective as a BVR weapon, it would also be able to carry air-to-ground payloads, so KH-31s, KH-29s, KH-25s, stuff like that would be added in a way that we can actually have a multi-role MiG-23 that it's fully capable of using any type of modern day Russian equipment, even the Cobbs, the Cobb 500 laser RTV guided. So it would be a very, very cool aircraft. These aircraft never really saw service, right? It actually was offered for many countries that use the MLD or any type of MiG-23ML, but eventually nobody really bought it and it kind of got forgotten. It even had a HMD, right, to use the R-73, so it would be a very, very cool vehicle. Of course, they had like 3 prototypes of it with differences and stuff depending on the country that would use them, being more or less modern, you know, but still the idea is that we would have the most advanced one with R-77s, with R-27s, with the air-to-ground payloads. It would be very cool to see this, and yeah, it's just a modernized MiG-23, right? And then we go to American aircraft throughout the whole tech trees, right? We start with 3 F-5s. So the first F-5 for me would be the F-5 EM. This is the Brazilian F-5. This is our F-5. They got upgraded eventually with many upgrades. I'm not gonna get too much into every single upgrade, but the idea here is that it has a new radar, and with this new radar it can actually use the Derby missile. So we do use the Derby missile and even the Python 4. We used to use the Python 3 and it got upgraded to the Python 4. So it would carry basically 4 missiles, 2 Derbys, 2 Python 4s in the normal configuration of an interceptor, and it would have, I think it's called the Grifo radar, which is a pretty good radar. It's not the most amazing thing ever because it's a small radar, but it's still pretty advanced. It's a normal pulse-stopper, but it's very advanced. And I mean, of course, you know, inside the cockpit changes as well and other little things here and there. But the idea would be an F-5E that can carry the Derbys, the Python 4s in the future with a modernized radar, right? And the other two F5s are kind of similar to that. If we talk about, for example, the F5 TH Super Tigris, Tigris or whatever you want to call it, could be added for the Japanese now that we have the subtree for the Thai there. This would be basically the F5 that we are like using right now on that tech tree, the SCU, but it would be the TCU, which is the third capability upgrade. This would mean that these aircraft would, in the same realms of the type of missiles and stuff and everything, it would be similar to the F5EM, right? So you would use basically a different radar and everything, but you would use a new glass cockpit, head-up display. You would have the 2032 radar made by Elbit on the Israelis, you know, data links, jamming pods, everything with that. But also, you would use the A9M, the Iris-T, the Python 4, and of course the Derby. So it would be similar-ish to the F5EM, but for the Japanese, because the F5EM would definitely be added maybe for the US, right? Or maybe for the Israelis, since he uses Israeli weapon systems, but I mean, in a general sense, it would be an US or Israeli aircraft, right? While the TCU, the F5TH, would be just a continuation of the tech tree there. It would probably be under or above, right, the F15, F16 that they have there on that tech tree. So it would be between the F5T SCU and the F16A OCU there, right, in a 13.0, 13.3 BR. It would be similar-ish to the F5EM, like I said, with different weapon systems and a different radar, right? Another F5 that could be added that would be cool, and this is a little bit of a reach because this was a prototype just like the MiG-23-98, but the F5E Tiger 2000. This would be basically a Taiwanese, so for the Chinese tech tree, Tiger or F5E upgrade, right? So the idea here is that it uses the GD-53 radar, capable of firing the Sky Sword missile. So their own version of an AIM-120 kind of. So it's similar-ish to that missile. It looks remarkably close to these missiles, to the AIM-120, to the PL-12, missiles like that, you know. And you would have GPS, data links, and all sorts of stuff like that. But the main idea is that it has an upgraded radar to the F5Es that we have in that tech tree to use the Sky Sword. So similar-ish to the Super Tigris and F5EM, it would be for another nation, an F5E that can carry Fox 3 missiles, be a 13.0 vehicle, and be, you know, added probably after the F16A MLU, if the MLU never gets its AIM-120s and remains at 12.7. So yeah, it would be a 13.0. It would be a cool vehicle, nothing too crazy because it is a prototype, but or an event vehicle. It could be an event vehicle as well, but it would be cool, right? And the last vehicle that I wanted to talk about, this is probably for the US as well, but we would need to wait and see a little bit how this would be added. But yeah, it would be an incredible event vehicle. The F4E, you know, a Phantom, Peace Icarus, or I think that's how it's called, 2000 AUP. This is a Greek vehicle, a Hellenic Air Force vehicle that got into service, and it's somewhat similar to the F4F, but at the same time, it is pretty different. The idea here is that it uses the APG or the APQ. They say it's the APG, but the APQ, but I mean, it's a similar radar to the F-18 Hornet, right? A version of that radar, basically. It would have a new head-up display, you know, anything with that, you know, MFD inside the cockpit, glass cockpits, that kind of thing. And it would carry, obviously, the AIM-120 being the main missile, you know, only in the B model, but still the AIM-120, and the AIM-9M. So very, very similar to the F5F ICE, right? It would also carry the entire family of the paveway bombs, laser-guided bombs and stuff, so that would be cool. And even it got certified to use the GBU-27 paveway, which is the GBU used on the F-117, which is pretty cool. It's a very good bomb, right? So it would be basically a modernized F-4 for the Americans. I still believe that they could add some form of F-4E to the tech tree itself, being an 80s version of the F-4E that we have in the game right now, to be a 11.7 or something, to bridge the gap between the F4E and the F-15A, you know, with better missiles and stuff. But in a general sense, there isn't that many things that can be added between these two. So maybe as an event vehicle, but maybe between these two in the US Tech Tree, we could have that. The F4E already have the skin for it, right? So it would be very cool to see it. It would be a really, really modern F4 that can carry MO20s just like the F4F ICE, right? And these are my options for you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. I think it's very cool if we see this type of vehicle. I love like the Kafir that we just had, so it would be very, very cool to see that, okay? I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and bye guys. See you.